Jason K. Fettig, and the Joint Armed Forces Chorus, directed by Lieutenant Colonel Randall Bertell.
By the dawn's early light, once so proudly we hailed, and the twilight's last gleaming, whose stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, through some gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare amongst bursting in air, it proved through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave? For the land of the brave and the home of the brave.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Dr. Paul W. Ambrose. Specialist Craig S. Edmondson, United States Army. Petty Officer 3rd Class Melissa Rose Barnes, United States Navy. Master Sergeant Max J. Belkey, United States Army, retired. Dr. Yenino Beatru. Petty Officer 2nd Class Chris Romero Bishundat, United States Navy. Kerry R. Blackburn. Colonel Canfield D. Boone, United States Army. Mary Jane Booth. Donna M. Bowen. Alan P. Boyle. Bernard C. Brown II. Petty Officer 3rd Class Christopher L. Burford, United States Navy. Captain Charles F. Burlingame III, United States Navy Reserve, retired. Petty Officer 3rd Class Daniel M. Caballero, United States Navy. Sergeant 1st Class Jose O. Calderon Olmedo, United States Army. Suzanne M. Callie. Angeline C. Carter. Sharon A. Carver. William E. Caswell. Sergeant First Class John J. Chada, United States Army, retired. Rosa Maria Chapa. David M. Charleboy. Sarah M. Clark. Julian T. Cooper. Asia S. Cottom. Lieutenant Commander Eric A. Cranford, United States Navy. Ada M. Davis. James D. DeBonnier. Captain Gerald F. DeConto, United States Navy. Rodney Dickens. Lieutenant Colonel Jerry D. Dickerson, United States Army. Eddie A. Dillard. Petty Officer First Class Johnny Doctor, Jr., United States Navy. Captain Robert E. Dolan, Jr., United States Navy. Commander William H. Donovan, United States Navy. Lieutenant Commander Charles A. Draws, III, United States Navy, retired. Commander Patrick Dunn, United States Navy. Petty Officer First Class Edward T. Earhart, United States Navy. Barbara G. Edwards. Lieutenant Commander Robert R. Elseth, United States Navy Reserve. Charles S. Falkenberg. And his wife, Leslie A. Whittington. And their two children, Dana Falkenberg and Zoe Falkenberg. Petty Officer, Third Class, Jamie L. Fallon, United States Navy.
J. Joseph Ferguson. Amelia V. Fields. Gerald P. Fisher. Darlene E. Flagg. And her husband, Rear Admiral Wilson F. Flagg, United States Navy Reserve, retired. Petty Officer Second Class Matthew M. Flacco, United States Navy. Sandra N. Foster. First Lieutenant Richard P. Gabriel, United States Marine Corps, retired. Captain Lawrence D. Getzfred, United States Navy. Cortez Gee. Brenda C. Gibson. Colonel Ronald F. Galinsky, United States Army, retired. Ian J. Gray. Diane Hale McKinsey. Stanley R. Hall. Carolyn B. Hallman. Michelle M. Heidenberger. Sheila M.S. Hine. Petty Officer First Class Ronald J. Hemingway, United States Navy. Major Wallace Cole Hogan, Jr., United States Army. Staff Sergeant Jimmy I. Holly, United States Army, retired. Angela M. Houtz. Brady K. Howell. Peggy M. Hurt. Lieutenant Colonel Stephen N. Hyland, Jr., United States Army. Lieutenant Colonel Robert J. Heimel, United States Air Force, retired. Sergeant Major Lacey B. Ivory, United States Army. Brian C. Jack. Stephen D. Jacoby. Lieutenant Colonel Dennis M. Johnson, United States Army. Judith L. Jones. Ann C. Judge. Brenda Kegler. Chandler R. Keller. Yvonne E. Kennedy. Norma Cruz Khan. Karen Ann Kincaid. Lieutenant Michael S. Lamanna, United States Navy. David W. Lachek. Dong Chul Lee. Jennifer Lewis. And her husband, Kenneth E. Lewis. Samantha L. Lightborn Allen. Major Stephen V. Long, United States Army. James T. Lynch, Jr. Terrence M. Lynch.
Petty Officer, Second Class, Nahamon Lyons IV, United States Navy. Shelley A. Marshall. Teresa M. Martin. Ada L. Mason Acker. Lieutenant Colonel Dean E. Matson, United States Army. Lieutenant General Timothy J. Maud, United States Army. Robert J. Maxwell. Renee A. May. Molly L. McKenzie. Dora Marie Minchaka. Patricia E. Mickley. Major Ronald D. Millam, United States Army. Gerard P. Moran, Jr. Odessa V. Morris. Petty Officer, First Class, Brian A. Moss, United States Navy. Teddington H. Moy. Lieutenant Commander Patrick J. Murphy, United States Navy Reserve. Christopher C. Newton. Kang Nok Win. Petty Officer, Second Class, Michael A. Knoweth, United States Navy. Barbara K. Olson. Ruben S. Ornado. Diana B. Padro. Lieutenant Jonas M. Panic, United States Navy Reserve. Major Clifford L. Patterson, Jr., United States Army. Robert Penninger. Robert R. Plosier III. And his wife, Zandra F. Plosier. Lieutenant Darren H. Pontel, United States Navy Reserve. Scott Powell. Captain Jack D. Punches, United States Navy, retired. Petty Officer First Class Joseph J. Piceer, Jr., United States Navy. Lisa J. Rains. Deborah A. Ramser. Rhonda Sue Rasmussen. Petty Officer First Class Marcia D. Ratchford, United States Navy. Martha M. Reski. Todd H. Rubin. Cecilia E. Lawson Richard. Edward V. Rowenhorst. Judy Rowlett. Sergeant Major Robert E. Russell, United States Army, retired. Chief Warrant Officer William R. Ruth, United States Army Reserve. Charles E. Sabin, Sr. Marjorie C. Salamoni. John P. Sammartino.
Colonel David M. Scales, United States Army. Commander Robert A. Schlegel, United States Navy. Janice M. Scott. Lieutenant Colonel Michael L. Selves, United States Army, retired. Marianne H. Serva. Commander Dan F. Shanower, United States Navy. Antoinette M. Sherman. Diane M. Simmons. And her husband, George W. Simmons. Donald D. Simmons. Cheryl D. Sincock. Chief Greg H. Smallwood, United States Navy. Lieutenant Colonel Gary F. Smith, United States Army, retired. Mary Ray Sopper. Robert Spiesman. Patricia J. Stotts. Edna L. Stevens. Norma Lang Sturley. Sergeant Major Larry L. Strickland, United States Army. Hilda E. Taylor. Lieutenant Colonel Kip P. Taylor, United States Army. Leonard E. Taylor. Sandra C. Taylor. Sandra D. Teague. Lieutenant Carl W. Tepe, United States Army, retired. Sergeant Tamara C. Thurman, United States Army. Lieutenant Commander Otis V. Tolbert, United States Navy. Staff Sergeant Willie Q. Troy, United States Army, retired. Lieutenant Commander Ronald J. Vach, United States Navy Reserve. Lieutenant Colonel Karen J. Wagner, United States Army. Meta L. Fuller Waller. Specialist Chin Sun Pak Wells, United States Army. Staff Sergeant Maudlin A. White, United States Army. Sandra L. White. Ernest M. Wilshire. Lieutenant Commander David L. Williams, United States Navy. Major Dwayne Williams, United States Army. Chief Marvin Roger Woods, United States Navy, retired. Captain John D. Yamnicki, Sr., United States Navy, retired. Vicky Yancey. Petty Officer Second Class Kevin W. Yoakum, United States Navy. Chief Donald M. Young, United States Navy. Edmund G. Young, Jr. Lisa L. Young. Shuin Young. And her husband, Yu Guang Zheng.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the invocation.
I invite you to pray with me on this solemn occasion. Almighty God, we thank you for your love and your grace. Thank you for being here with us today. In your mighty name, amen. Ladies and gentlemen, I now invite you to enjoy a moment of silence with us as we remember our fallen 21 years ago today in this very place at 0937.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce General Mark A. Milley, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
Mr. President, Secretary Austin, distinguished guests, and especially the survivors and families of the fallen who are here today and watching from around the world. Thank you. Thank you for joining us for this morning's ceremony. 21 years ago today, terrorists murdered 2,977 innocent men, women, and children in the name of their warped ideology. What started out as a normal day here at the Pentagon violently changed at 0937 hours. On the sacred ground where we now stand, 184 Americans were viciously slaughtered, 125 in the Pentagon and 59 passengers and crew on Flight 77. The innocent ranged in age from 3 to 71 years old. The families of those killed and our entire nation will forever remember the pain of this day. It was not just an attack on the passengers and crew aboard the aircraft, not just an attack on New York City or Washington, D.C. or Somerset County, Pennsylvania. It was an attack on our nation as a whole. It was an attack on the freedom of this nation, an attack on who we are and what we represent. The terrorists believed that they could destroy us, destroy our values, the values that bind this nation. And they were wrong. Terror will never destroy us. They will never destroy the idea that is America. The idea that we are all Americans, regardless of where we came from, what our last name is, regardless of the color of our skin or the religion we follow. It doesn't matter if we're male or female. None of that matters. We are all Americans. And it was an attack on all of us. It was an attack because we were born free and equal. And that freedom is worth fighting for. Since 9/11, that is exactly what 3 million of us did who wore the cloth of our nation. We deployed to engage the enemies of our country, to protect and defend the principles that came under attack this day 21 years ago. Each of you sacrificed to defend our country and its values. Each of you did your duty. Each of you deserves our nation's eternal gratitude. And on this day, we gather here to honor the fallen of 9/11, to remember and reflect and to reaffirm our resolve to support and defend the idea and the reality that is America, for which those brave souls gave their last full measure of devotion. Hate and terror can damage, but it will never destroy the strength of America. The ideas that are our very foundation and the values that are the pillars of this great nation. Ladies and gentlemen, it is now my honor to introduce the Secretary of Defense of the United States, the Honorable Lloyd J. Austin III.
Well, thank you, General Milley. Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. It is indeed an honor to be joined by family members of the fallen, survivors, and first responders. To those whose loved ones were so cruelly taken from them on September 11th, 2001, I offer my deepest condolences. And so does the entire Department of Defense. We know that these moments of tribute are not easy. And we know the resilience that you have shown over these long years. It gives us all strength. So thank you. Today we stand together to remember a day of horror and loss. A day when Al-Qaeda terrorists murdered 2,977 innocent souls, including 184 people here at the Pentagon. But we also remember a day of monumental courage and compassion. A day when people responded to evil and fanaticism with goodness and generosity. A day that called forth the heroism that dwells in the hearts of Americans across this land. Many of those acts of bravery happened right here where we're standing. Our colleagues at the Pentagon risked their own safety to rescue their teammates. They moved rubble with their bare hands. They cleaned wounds with bottled water. They used damp t-shirts as face masks to shield against the smoke so that they could keep on helping just a little longer. You know, one woman was crawling across the second floor trying to escape when she came across a coworker who had been in the same conference room when the plane hit. And the coworker did not think that she could keep on going. Just get on my back, the woman said, and I will carry you. And she did. And she got them both to safety. Just get on my back and I will carry you. Now that is the spirit of the people of this building and all those who responded at the scene. In the face of cruelty, they showed compassion, courage, and common purpose. In the days and months after the attack, ordinary Americans volunteered in an extraordinary way to help however they could, including millions who raised their hands to serve in the U.S. military. So today I want to again thank our men and women in uniform, as well as the families who make their service possible. Your sacrifice has ensured that America always stands ready to defend our values, our freedoms, and our citizens. Just over 1 year ago, America's war in Afghanistan came to an end. Yet we continue our relentless focus on combating terrorist threats to our nation. And earlier this summer, the United States delivered justice to Ayman al-Zawahiri, the leader of Al-Qaeda. So make no mistake, America's determination to keep our country safe will never waver. And neither will America's determination to bring justice to those who attack our citizens. Surrounding us today are 184 steel benches, each bearing the name of a person murdered in the attack on the Pentagon. And every night, 184 lights come on, lighting up each bench, just as the people who they honor lit up the lives of those who love them. And those lights remind us that even on our darkest days, the American spirit still shines. It shines through the bravery of our first responders. It shines through the strength of the heartbroken. And it shines through the valor of our troops. And it shines through the sacrifice of all those who step up to defend the United States. So today, let us renew our dedication to facing the test of tomorrow as our heroes did, with compassion for one another, with love for our great republic, and with devotion to our democracy. We will always remember. We will always stand guard over this democracy, and we will always seek to be worthy of those who we lost. As President Biden has said, and I quote, "From the deepest depths of our worst crises, we've always risen to our higher heights." Ladies and gentlemen, our president deeply cares about the men and women of the United States military. And our president believes deeply in America's strength, in the democratic values that guide us in times of trial, and in the resilience of the American spirit, even at moments of great challenge. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor to introduce the President of the United States.
Secretary Austin, General Milley, to all the families and loved ones who still feel the ache of that missing piece of your soul, I'm honored to be here with you once more to share this solemn rite of remembrance and reflect on all that was lost in the fire and ash on that terrible September morning, and all that we found in ourselves to respond. 21 years ago, 21 years, and we still kept our promise, never forget. We'll keep the memory of all those precious lives stolen from us. 2,977 at Ground Zero in New York and Shanksville, where my wife is speaking now, in Pennsylvania. 184 of them here at the Pentagon. And I know for all those of you who've lost someone, 21 years is both a lifetime and no time at all. It's good to remember. These memories help us heal, but they can also open up the hurt and take us back to that moment when the grief was so raw. You think of everything they could have done if they had lived and just had a little more time. The experience you missed together, the dreams they never got to fulfill or realize. I remember a message sent to the American people from Queen Elizabeth. It was on September 11. Her ambassador read a prayer of service at St. Thomas Church in New York, where she poignantly reminded us, quote, "Grief is the price we pay for love." Grief is the price we pay for love. Many of us experienced that grief, and you've all experienced it. And on this day, when the price feels so great, Jill and I are holding all of you close to our hearts. Terror struck us in that brilliant blue morning. The air filled with smoke, and then came the sirens and the stories. Stories of those we lost, stories of incredible heroism from that terrible day. The American story itself changed that day. But what we did change, what we will not change, what we cannot change, never will, is the character of this nation that the terrorists thought they could wound. And what is that character? The character of sacrifice and love, of generosity and grace, of strength and resilience. In the crucible of 9/11, in the days and months that followed, we saw what stuff Americans are made of. Think of all of your loved ones, particularly those on that flight, ordinary citizens who said, "We will not let this stand," risked and lost their lives so even more people would not die. We saw it in the police officers and firefighters who stood on the pile on Ground Zero for months amid that twisted steel and broken concrete slabs, breathing the toxins and ash
that would damage their health, refusing to stop the search through the destruction. They never stopped, would not. We learned about the extraordinary courage and resolve, as I said, of the passengers on board Flight 93, who understood that they were living the open, they were there in the middle of the open shot of a new war, and who chose to fight back. Not professionals, fight back, sacrificing themselves, refusing to let their plane be used as a weapon against even more innocents. And here at the Pentagon, which was both the scene of the horrific terrorist attack and the command center for our response to defend and protect the American people, so many heroes were made here. So many of your loved ones were those heroes. Began almost immediately with civilians and service members leaping to action as the walls collapsed and the roof began to crumble. They raced into the breach between the fourth and fifth corridors. The impact created by the fire raged at twice the height of this building. I remember I was a U.S. Senator walking up to my office, and I could see the smoke and flames. They were heroes. They went back into those soaring flames to try to save their teammates. Firefighters battled the blaze of jet fuel long into the night, pushing past the bounds of exhaustion. Pentagon staff showed up to work on September 12th, more determined than ever to keep their country secure. I said when I was up on 9/11, we will follow them to the gates of hell to be sure that they're not able to continue.